All right, so our loop is in there. Once again, big picture here. We've got our do while loop. It's going to go through each of the worksheets minus the one at the end, the yearly report worksheet. It's going to perform the add headers, format headers, and automate sum. All that stuff that we've done up to this point. The next step within our loop, as it goes through each worksheet, after it gets done adding the headers, formatting them, and creating the calculation, we then want to grab all that data, copy it, like Control C, right? Go to the yearly report and paste the data in. Then go to the next worksheet and repeat the process. Add the headers, format them, add the auto sum, copy it, go back to the yearly report and paste it in. And we're going to do that for each of the worksheets. So let's bring my VBA window back over here. So that's done. Hopefully that feels comfortable. If something's kind of off in there, make sure you go back, rewatch the videos, take a look, make sure that this right here is pretty solid. Now, right after the auto sum, after it gets done on the first worksheet, does the headers, formats them, does the automating the sum. Now, we want to grab that data, copy it, jump to the yearly report, paste it in. All right. So our next command here, let's put some comments in. Let's say this one here is going to copy the current data. All right. Now, if I were to ask you to go to the South worksheet, grab all the data, copy it, how would you do it? Well, you would go to that worksheet, you would click and drag, you would highlight the data, and you would maybe Control C on your keyboard to copy the data. Well, we need to take those steps and turn it into Visual Basic, into VBA. Take a look. So first step, again, if you were to do it manually, you would go to that worksheet, which we're already done. We've already gone to the specific worksheet. Then we would highlight the data. So first off, I'm going to make sure that my cursor is currently inside of the data. Somewhere in there. It's inside of the data that I want to copy. Once I've got that, so I'm sitting inside of range A1 and I've selected it. I'm sitting inside of A1. Now, I need to grab all of the data. Normally, manually, you would click and drag, right, from A1 down to F whatever. Well, here, I'm going to use the selection object. Then I'm going to use the current region. So selection becomes A1, my currently selected cell, and then current region is going to jump out. You ever done Control A on your keyboard? Take a look at this. This is going to break on me, but that's fine. If I go to the East records and I click into A1 and I do Control A on my keyboard, this will jump out and grab all the data, the current region of data. That's kind of like doing selection.currentRegion. Let's get that back. Now, what is it that I want to do with the current region? I want to select it. All right, so I've got to A1, selected that cell, then I'm doing the selection, current region, and I'm selecting all of that data like Control A on your keyboard would do for you. Now I've got it highlighted. What's the next step? Well, I'm going to take the selection and I'm going to copy it. Selection.copy. All right, so step by step, think about how you would do it manually. Once you understand that, the process that you would go through to accomplish this task, all you're doing is writing it in VBA now. So we got the current cell, we've selected the data, we're now copied it, it's sitting on the clipboard. The next step is I now want to paste it someplace. Well, where do I want to paste it? I want to paste it on a specific worksheet. In this case, I'm going to go to the yearly report worksheet. I'm going to select that worksheet. Now I need to paste it someplace on that worksheet. Let's think about this for a moment. If I do this, ActiveSheet.paste. So I've copied the data here. I've gone to the yearly report worksheet. I've selected it. And then I'm just going to say ActiveSheet.paste. Well, where's that data getting pasted at? If I jump over to yearly report, where am I currently at? If I were to paste something right now, it'd go right to A1, which is great. The first time my loop runs, I want it right there. Well, What about the second time my loop runs? Do I want to paste it inside of A1? No. I want to paste it down below the previously pasted data. I don't want to override something that I already pasted there earlier. So I need to make sure I'm in a spot where there's no data. Well, there's definitely a few different ways that we can do this. What I'm going to do here just for this project, and I want to challenge you to come up with other methods on how you can do this as well. But here's what I'm going to suggest for right now. I'm going to suggest that when we get into our code, we tell it to go to the yearly report. Our next step, before we paste, our next step is I'm going to jump all the way down to the bottom someplace. I'm going to tell it to go to like A30,000. Oops, let's make sure I get that right. And I'm going to select that cell. So I'm going to jump way down to the bottom. I know there's no data there. Let's jump to the bottom. Now, I want to get back to the top, but I don't want to go all the way to the top because there might be data there already. I just want to go back up until it finds data. So you might remember this. If I say selection.end, last time we did XL down. That took me to the bottom of data. Well, here I'm going to say XL up, and I'm going to select it. So this is going to go from A30,000, take me all the way back up until it finds data. Then it stops. If there's no data there, it takes me to the very top. But if I've already pasted something in, it'll take me up until it finds data. Cool? Now I won't accidentally override data that's already there. Now I do want to create some separation between that data and my newly pasted data because I got a new region. So here I'm going to say, once it goes back up, I'm going to offset again. I'm going to offset 3 rows, 0 columns, and I'm going to select it. Now the reason why I'm offsetting so much is I do want some space between my records, but I'm also offsetting enough so I don't override the formula, which is actually all by itself with an empty row next to it. So I want to make sure I drop down far enough that I don't override the data and I don't override the formula, and I create some space between the different regions. All right, and then I'll paste the data. So there's a bit going on in here. We're copying the data. We're finding the data, the current region. We're selecting it. Then we're going to copy the selection. We're going to hop over to the yearly report worksheet. We're going to find a cell way down at the bottom where we know there's no data. And then we're going to travel back up until it either finds data and stops or makes it to the top. Then we're going to offset 3 little rows just to get away from that data and create some separation, and then we're going to paste our currently copied data into that spot. All right, let's do this. Before we keep going, I suggest get in there, add some more comments. You can come in here and you can say, selects the final report worksheet. Let's see. Let's make that a comment. Find the empty cells, and then paste the new data in. All right, just adding some comments to help me help other users that perhaps are getting into our procedures as well. So finish off this loop. Let's get the rest of this code in there. Remember, you can always rewind and watch and really get a solid understanding as to why we're making these decisions. Once again, I want to challenge you to come up with another method as well on how you could potentially find where the data should get pasted at. Okay? But once you got all this, I'm going to stop this video, then we'll jump into the next one.